What's up, YouTube? Christo here. Just wanted to do something a bit different. A quick video for you. Kind of on hiatus between my top 10 niche fragrance picks for spring. I've been overwhelmed at school with work. I just literally not had time to do anything. So I'm going to do this quick for a nice little break, and then I'm going to get back to my spring list. It's getting really beautiful here, so I'm going to get to take advantage of a lot of my spring fragrances, and I'm really, really excited about that. But for today, I want to do a video talking about some new pickups I've gotten from one of my all-time favorite fragrance houses, Serge Lutens. Now, quick backstory here. Just for reference, if you're not overly familiar with Serge Lutens, their standard line basically has two forms of bottles. They have 50 ml bottles like this that are for export, and they have these beautiful 75 ml bell jars that look like a bell, that have a splash. They don't have an atomizer on them. So what basically Serge Lutens does, and I actually like this, instead of completely discontinuing a fragrance, they basically just turn it into non-export bell jars. Bell jars are really expensive, per mil. They're also really exclusive. You can only get them in two places. As of now, I believe there's only two places in the world you can get them. At the main Serge Lutens boutique in Paris, and there's one department store, high-end department store in the United States that sells them, and that's it, nowhere else. They're very rare, very highly coveted, and often sell for over retail when they're new in box because of how exclusive and hard to find they are. I unfortunately do not own any bell jars, but I do have numerous Serge Lutens that are in the rectangular bottles that now are no longer available in these, only the bell jars. So I kind of want to talk about a few of them here. These are all either non-export or from the exclusive Selection d'Or line, which I'm kind of excited about. So the first little fella here, this little tiny guy, don't let this fool you. This is actually a very, very, very highly sought after Serge Lutens fragrance. This is Rose de Nuit, which is just like living in legendary status in the Serge Lutens world. This has been non-export for so long. It's so rare and so hard to find. Basically, you need to get it in bell jar. Your chances of finding it in a bottle like this are just so minimal. I pretty much know I'm never going to buy a bottle or get a bottle unless it's a new bell jar. But I did a swap with someone on Base Notes, and they were very kind to send me this little sample. I've only dabbed it once or twice, and it smells great. I can't decide if I'm going to spray the whole thing out, like put it in an atomizer and just wear it in one awesome, big spraying, or if I'm just going to like savor it and dab it, but not quite get the whole experience. I don't know. I know I'm never going to find this again, so I'm going to be very careful about how I dispense it. Next one, this one I picked up a sample of the Cannibal from the Selection d'Or. These are like the black and gold bottles that are like $500 US. I think they might even be more than $500 US per bottle. And I tried several of the Selection d'Ors, and this is the only one that stood out, but it blew my socks off. The other ones were nice. They were a lot fresher than I was expecting. Linsinidry, which I really wanted to try, they didn't have that. So I tried this. I was just like, wow, that is out of this world. It's just this amazing, like bone dry, slightly sweet, resinous amber fragrance. Just really, really threw me. Because like I said, I was looking more for Linsinidry than Cannibal. Cannibal never really came up on my radar except for the kind of bizarre name. But yeah, I was just shocked by how awesome it is. But for the price, like, I'm not even going to think about it. I can't even imagine how much it is in Canadian dollars. This one here, this is a little decant. But again, it's something very, very highly sought after in the Serge world. This is Santal de Mysore. Serge Lutens fragrances, if you're not familiar, are actually quite famous for being fairly linear. But this changes, I swear, more than any fragrance I have ever tried. Not just from Serge Lutens, but ever. The opening of this actually makes me a bit nauseous because it smells like the kind of dried candy boozy fruit from Araby that I hate mixed with like red medicine, and this stuff is red, like pure red juice. So the first time I sprayed this, the opening, I was like, that is disgusting. I cannot wear this. And then I kind of forgot about it after a couple hours. I just had it like on my arm for testing. And then a couple hours later, I was trying to think of what I had put on because I was testing a couple things. It's like, wow, something smells really amazing. And I finally realized that it was Mysore that had changed into this just superlative creamy sandalwood. Like, I'd never smelled a sandalwood like that before in my life. So it's very strange. The opening I find repulsive, but the dry down is just magical if you're into sandalwood. This here, I wanted to mention, I'm not a huge fan of this, and it's not overly rare, but from what I understand from reputable sources, it is turning non-export, so it will be a bell jar soon. This is 5 o'clock Eau Gijambre. This is one of the, other than Chergui, this is one of the few Serge Lutens that's kind of made it into the mainstream spotlight. I never really checked this out until more recently, and the only reason I got it was because someone sent me a nice decant of it. Mainly because I don't really like ginger, and I'm not overly into like tea-based fragrance. Tea can be okay, but I've kind of grown out of it, and this is basically what this is. And you know what? I have to say it's nicer than I expected, but it's still not something I would pick up. Now that it's going into non-export, yeah, maybe I would pick up a bottle, just because, you know, I may never find it again, and who knows where my taste is going to go. But I just thought I'd mention that one. There are quite a few people out there that really enjoy that, and it will be bell jarred soon. This one I also got in a swap, or in my swap from the gentleman who sent me the Rose de Nuit. This is De Profundis. This is a beautiful, beautiful, like blue purple floral. It's fresh and juicy and lush and green. And this one I doubt you can see, but the juice is just like pure blue, which is another thing I love that Serge Lutens does. You know, they make the juice actually represent or kind of reflect what the fragrance name is, which I think is great. The Eau Gijambre here is like green. It's like kind of a greenish brown hue, which is really nice. This one I can't say I'm as excited about. I basically just got this in a swap with someone who threw it in extra that knew I really like Serge Lutens. It's not something that really stood out to me, but has been non-export for quite a while. It's Un Bois Sepia. It's probably about a 5 or 6 ml decant there. It's just kind of like a boring, generic designer fragrance, just with a little bit higher quality. Really just not my thing. Even online, a lot of reviews for it, you know, are kind of tepid at best. Like, yeah, it's nothing special. It's nothing great. It's nothing that interesting from Serge Lutens. And, you know, so far I have to say I agree, although I haven't really worn it. Hasn't really been the weather for it yet. So maybe now it's kind of like a fresh, woody, maybe to work a bit better in spring, but overall not that impressed with it. So here are the 3 big ones. Really excited about these. I got to give a big shout out to Riley. He hooked me up with these big time, 2 of the 3. But he's been following my channel for years. We've talked before, and he knows I'm back in Canada, and he's a fellow Canadian. And he basically sent me a private message asking me if I was interested in a couple of his rare Serge Lutens that he was offering for an amazing price. So I couldn't sleep on that, so I ended up grabbing them. The first one is Cuir Maurès. Now, this made my top 10 dying to try fragrances a couple years ago. Someone sent me a sample of it very generously. I wasn't particularly impressed with it. I was hoping for a lot more for a leather from one of my favorite fragrance houses. I got this in good faith that my taste would change and that, you know, it would be a great leather for me. And I was right. I was very right. Uh, this is just totally up my alley now. And then it shows you just a year and a half ago, I was kind of like, yeah, it's all right. But now, love it so much. Leather, obviously, it's got myrrh that turns into like almost this like fresh, clean, watery aquatic note. Like, and I don't want to make it sound like a watery aquatic because when I smell myrrh very often, like myrrh heavy fragrances, I do get a very kind of dreamy, watery note and or accord or feeling, and that's definitely what this gives me. There's also incense and civet. This is just a big, huge one for me. I can't wait to wear this more. Next, Shen. This one is regarded by many people as being one of the best, if not the best, woody Serge Lutens fragrance. To me, actually, what sticks out most is the rum, which is weird because a lot of people don't really mention the rum as being like the most predominant note. I think it's rum or whiskey. It's definitely very boozy. And then on top of that, there's honey or beeswax. Definitely something I need to wear more. I actually had a sample years ago of this, and I can't say I was overly impressed with it. It still reminds me, like, exactly of my sample from before. Just need to wear it, I guess. But it has legendary status in the Serge Lutens world. Next, this is the main bottle that I got from the guy with the Rose de Nuit and the De Profundis, Santal Blanc. This one is definitely one of the lesser talked about of these sandalwoods from Serge Lutens. Mysore, Santal Mysore is like legendary status. Santal Majuscule, which is still in the export series, both very highly regarded. This one doesn't get much talk. I think it's really great. It's got a very soury, almost pickly note, which is kind of weird. But then again, it dries down to this really beautiful, light, almost transparent, creamy sandalwood. This one is definitely going to get a lot of action in the fall time. So there you go. There's some new Serge Lutens that I've picked up. Bottles, samples, decants. Really excited about them. Let me know what your thoughts are of these, what your favorite non-exports are, or any other Serge Lutens talk, because it's an amazing house in my opinion. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.